value of being interested is I had more clients come on board, prospect coming to me. So actually more attraction has come to me. And I find it's just much more liberating, anxiety-free, grace, and the attraction comes back much at flow. So thank you for that great share that you had shared with me in the room at that time. I'm complete.
I love it. Thank you so much. And what makes being interested more than interesting so beautiful is it, number one, brings credibility, which reduces that interference, or as you indicated, anxiety. But it also brings an emotional connection. Remember, people are buying on emotion for logical reasons. And if you're credible, you'll have the logical reasons. But if you don't have the emotional attachment, if they don't feel you, it'll be difficult for them to engage with you or allow the relationship to move forward, or as some people indicate, attract them to you. And then more importantly, the more data we gather, and the only way you can gather data is through the 2 ears you have and the ability to be more interested, to enable you to articulate the quantitative value of what you are asking for. And when you can articulate a quantitative value of what you're asking for, to be exceeded by what you're giving, oh my gosh, the statistical success is displayed here is enormous, and it keeps aggregating and compounding because not everybody moves today. It takes the 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. It's not just 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, but also 2 years sometimes. But if you continue to utilize my favorite marketing and branding tool of being more interested than interesting, I always joke around, I want to do a commercial series. We've all seen the Dos Equis guy, right? The world's most interesting man. I'd love to see a commercial someday, the world's most interested man. One time Dave Meltzer asked over 100 open-ended questions just to see how he could be of service or value to someone else. The world's most interested man. Be more interested than interesting. Ask for open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Ask open-ended questions. Be credible. Learn to connect with feelings, emotional attachment, and learn how to articulate the quantitative value to exceed what you're asking for. And the success will only aggregate in your interest, only compound for your future success. What a great takeaway. One of my favorites, one of my greatest lessons that I learned when I was 18, be more interested than interesting. All right, Jake, let's keep it going.
Be more interested than interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Dave. Let's continue on with our incredible takeaways of the week. We've got a super special guest. We got Colleen in the room. Colleen, welcome to the Clubhouse. What's your takeaway of the week?
Thank you, Jake. Good morning, everybody. My takeaway of the week, which I think transitions great from being more interested than interesting, is make sure your actions are so loud that they don't even hear what you say. I think that's such a powerful message, and one that I really didn't know how to put words to for so many years. And, showing up, being responsible, working hard, making sure that people could see the work that I was putting in without having to say, look at what I've done. And I think a lot of people get lost in that because they want, to speak loudly, be heard, be seen. And so just making sure that I know that is a way more powerful way to work, not only just in your professional life, but in your personal life too, showing up every day, being there for people without saying, look what I did. I think that's a really powerful message. And that was my big takeaway for the week.
I love that. And, that quote we took from one of our guests that came on this week. And we've all heard, that actions speak louder than words, but those whose actions are so loud that they don't need to be heard. And I have been blessed to, be around the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL of all time. And not one of them, not Joe Namath, not Joe Montana, not Warren Moon, not Troy Aikman, not Steve Young, and the list goes on and on. Not one of them ever needed to tell me how great of a football player they were or great of a quarterback they were. Not one of them. But it was amazing how many of the young or unaccomplished quarterbacks would list out again and again so loudly how great they were. I don't ever remember Tom Brady stepping into a press conference and saying, well, after 6 touchdowns and 6 Super Bowls, and I think his actions have always been so loud that nobody needs to hear a word about it. And I know, Colleen, I've worked with you for almost a decade and known you for over a decade. And it's a great lesson because your actions have always spoke louder than your words. And in fact, they speak so loud, there's nothing you need to say other than how can I be of service or how can I get better? And those are 2 things that everybody should be asking. But if you want to list out your highlights to everybody, you're on the wrong place, moving in the wrong direction. And I love that takeaway. It's a nugget for everyone. May all your actions speak so loud that you never need to be heard. I love it. Thank you so much for bringing that one up. It was my favorite one for the week as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. And Dave, next up here on Clubhouse, we actually have Dan Clark, who just joined. Dan, if you're around and you can unmute yourself, everyone is sharing their takeaways of the week. So if you can unmute yourself and want to share, that'd be amazing. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Dave Meltzer, my hero.
What's up?
I have 2 questions for you, David, that are my takeaways every time I listen to anything you say. Number 1, how do you fit into your busy life the opportunity to make every single one of us feel like we're the most important person in your life? Yeah. That you truly are interested. You always comment. You always thank us for our comments. That's question number 1. How do you find the time to actually reach out in a personal way to make every one of us feel special and important and significant in your life? Question number 2 is every single time you open your mouth, I have to pull out a yellow pad and take notes. So all of us in Clubhouse, all of us who are pursuing to become the best version of ourselves, we have a steady regimen. We read, we listen to podcasts like yours, and we jump on Clubhouse and learn from one another. But I have yet to find someone who is always so profound and evocative. Every single time you talk, every single time you answer a question, it takes us all to the next level. So I'm not blowing smoke, my friend. I want to know how you decide what to read, how you study, when you find time in your day to study, so that every single time you jump on, you're not always trying to find content, you are walking content. We just need to basically, as they say, you light yourself on fire and you let all of us watch you burn. So please answer those 2 questions, Dave. I've always wanted to ask you that, and you know how much I love and admire you so much. This is Dan. I'm through asking questions.
Well, I'll tell you, if somebody would told me 10 years ago that Dan Clark, one of my mentors, one of the people that I looked up to, has written more books in more countries and spoken on more stages than anyone that I know, even more than Deepak and Jack Canfield and Bob Proctor. This man, to give me a compliment like that is much appreciated. But in all humility, I will tell you that 10% of the people will always resonate with you. And so if you're sitting there going, what the F is Dan Clark talking about? I do not see that in Dave Meltzer. I feel you. 10% of you saying, I don't know why I'm in here. I don't even like Dave Meltzer. That's pretty comparable to the statistics of it. And it's that 80%, Dan. I had you at hello because you and I are on the same frequency, and you had me at hello. But I think it's really important to feed those that feed you, and to prioritize the people that feed you, and to create systems to make sure that you are touching everyone that you can that does need to be fed. So whether it's Free Friday trainings, and whether it shows every day for free, or whether it's a group, right? I'm just starting and taking advantage of the recession group after the over $100 million I lost last recession, and the lessons I've learned. I want to pour into as many people as I can by having a group to say, look, let me tell you about the markets that are going to be doing well. Let me teach you how to find the market makers within the context of the markets that do well. And most importantly, where do the real margins lie? Because the margins get so big in a recession when things are bought and oversold. And this is historical. And you and I are both old enough to have seen 93 and 99 and 2008, of course, as well. And we're going to see it again right now. I think we're already in a recession. And so I think it's important for everyone out there to create as many systems as they can to be able to be three things: productive, meaning provide value to as many people as you can; to be accessible, and accessible is a duality. It's not only to be accessible to others, but Dan, you just fed me. It's to access what I want. And I sat here choked up as you were talking, thinking about, holy moly, this guy he's touching my heart and filling me to drive myself every day to be more interested. And that will lead into the third one, which is gratitude reconciled with time. I am very disciplined about reconciling my gratitude. I know there's light, love, and lessons in everyone. And I'm going to make sure I get back to and touch as many of those everyone's as I can. But the majority of my time are going to be spent on things that feed me, people that feed me, situations that feed me, so I can feed them. And if I get fed and they get fed, then I get more energy and more time to be productive, accessible, and gracious. And reconciling time in there allows for extraordinary efficiencies, effectiveness, and statistical success. And so, understanding that high level spectrum of the great chain of feeding and utilizing these mechanisms and lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude have allowed me to build a community that is connected for free, in a group, in one-on-one type of advisory roles. All the different things that I get to do during the day are created through these three lenses. Now, secondarily, you asked, the other side of it is, how do I have all of these lessons? Because I have, for over 16 years, studied and listened and interviewed and been interviewed. And every single time I only look for two things: lessons that I learned from Dan Clark and Amelia Antonetti and Mikey Momola and anyone else that's on here that has taught me today their takeaways. I'm codifying those lessons. And then all I got to do is to create a notation of a story that best conveys that lesson to others. And so I'm studying the Course in Miracles every day. I'm studying Think and Grow Rich every day. I'm taking on 12 interviews minimum a day. I'm looking and seeing what books like Surrender Experiment or the James Clear's habit book, Atomic Habits, or whatever it is. I've read all your books. I think there's a lot out there, but all I'm doing is notating lessons and stories. And whether it was Wayne Dyer or Deepak Chopra or Bob Proctor or Dan Clark, I have a long list of lessons and stories that allow me to think about, as people bring up these critical life, business, personal issues. Hey, here's a lesson I've learned, and here's a story, so that you will feel the lesson and remember, reconnect, and recollect to the greatest source that you and I live through, the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that provides us extraordinary light, not only liberating us, as you suggest, but liberating others to shine their light, which I believe is what this weekend is about: allowing all of us to liberate our lives and our light so that others can liberate theirs. We do not have to diminish our capacity in some sort of reconciliation or shame, blame, or justification. Let your light shine in freedom. Let the options, opportunities, and touches of favor exist within the context of you asking for more and asking for help and being a part and parcel of a whole that is so extraordinary that it allows you to accelerate to a potential that even you may have limited. And those are the two things off the top of my head I can tell you that have really changed my life and allowed me to have someone like you, not only in my life, but think so highly of me. I will add one takeaway as I listen to Dan: you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad. So thank you, Dan.
David, ladies and gentlemen, drop the mic.
Hey, Jake, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much, Dan. And if anyone would like to follow up with Dan, which I highly suggest you do that, his website is danclark.com, danclark.com. Thank you so much for joining, Dan. Hey, should we move on and bring up more people for takeaways of the week?
Yeah, we got about 13 minutes left. You know, I'm anal retentive when it comes to time, utilizing it in the best of my ability. So 13 minutes of love for everyone. Let's get some more takeaways.
Let's do it. I see Christina Madrigal is here. Christina, if you can please unmute yourself and want to share your takeaway of the week. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this has been so fun and so amazing. Thank you for calling on me. So I was at my cousin's house the other day, a couple nights ago, and we hadn't seen each other for a while. We were all catching up, and I was sitting next to his daughter, who's 16, and I said, they're like, "Oh, how's life?" And I was like, "Oh, it's great. David Meltzer and his team have completely transformed my life. I'm so happy." And they're like, "Well, that's a big statement. Say more." And so I just went through main basis of my practice are the four values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and living in inspiration. And I was able to break it all down. And then the 16-year-old asked me some more questions about forgiveness. And it was such a beautiful conversation because she was asking really great questions about forgiveness, about forgiving yourself. I was able to share more, and then my cousins were able to share more, and then it ended up like just in laughter and like community, and it was just so heartwarming and beautiful to be able to have the kind of conversations that I feel are really uplifting with my family, and to be able to show them that throughout our heartaches and throughout our life and our ups and downs, that we can still go back to the foundations and the values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration, and share that. And it was just so lovely. And so that was my takeaway of the week, and it just really filled my heart, and it just made me happy. And I just was able to share about what y'all do for me, and I'm just so grateful. So that's my takeaway. Thank y'all so much.
I love that. And Christine, it's so great to feel your energy on here and the happiness that you have with your family gathering. And I know so many of us will be together with our families this weekend to celebrate the options, opportunities, and touches of favor of freedom. And, you know, I have these three concentric circles. We have a comfort zone, we have a learning zone, and an anxiety zone. And if we stay in the comfort zone, we never learn. If we stay in the anxiety zone, it will constrict down so that our comfort zone is so small, we may not even be able to get out of bed or want to survive our own lives. But if we can maintain the learning zone, pretty soon the size of our comfort zone becomes the size of our learning zone. And what used to make us anxious now becomes the learning zone. And we expand and excel and grow within the context of these three concentric circles, which, by the way, I'm happy to send everybody, David at dmeltzer.com. I'll send you a diagram of how this works. But one of the things or nuances from my own practice and study of the comfort, learning, and anxiety zones is ease, unease, and dis-ease. And I think especially as we're around people that are more relative to us, they either have a genetic or an energetic inheritance similar to ours or the exact same, or we have spent a majority of our lives with them. And so they have enough baggage to put us at dis-ease the majority of the time that we are reconciled together as relatives. But if we look in the context of relationships, especially in this period of time, this weekend, when we're celebrating this idea of options, opportunities, and touches of favor, when we're celebrating the idea of learning from one another, not being anxious or not just sitting in a comfort zone, but learning about one each other to see how we've grown, right? Which is where you were at, is I'm not the same Christina as the Christina last 4th of July or at Christmas or whatever other celebratable that you're doing. And think about it. If we could take the ease and move it into unease and then use gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration in order to effectuate a greater ease from a union of unease and not progress into dis-ease, into anxiety and fear and arguments and interference that exists from people who love each other so much that they'll get into arguments and end up saying, I hate you. No, you don't. You're just saying, I love you so much, but you're frustrating me. I'm at dis-ease. And what I want you to think about is how gratitude, finding the light, the love, and the lessons in those individuals that are most relative to you, utilizing forgiveness for the interference that they've created in your life, giving a new meaning to your past and even a greater new meaning to your future by presently forgiving them and forgiving yourself, taking accountability by asking yourself in unease, what did I do to participate in this unease? And what am I supposed to learn from it? Utilizing gratitude and forgiveness to heal the interference that we've created between our siblings and our parents and our grandparents and our uncles and our cousins and our closest friends who can't forgive us for what we did when we were 16 or 18 or 28. Put yourself into a mindset of gratitude, forgiveness, and this idea of accountability of what am I doing to participate in their perception of me, and what am I supposed to learn from that perception of me about myself, and give meaning to the past that I've never had before, one in which enriches my life, and giving a new meaning to my future relationship to those who are most relative to me. Healing and putting our unease back to ease, or our dis-ease into unease, back into ease, growing and accelerating those concentric circles. So what used to make us anxious is now making us excited and learning. And there's a whole new level that would provide us that anxiety, fear, separation that we don't want. Putting ourselves into a mindset of what we do want, not what other people want for us, not what's missing, not what's happened in the past, not what we don't want. You give meaning to that past. It's all relative. Let's give the meaning of gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability to the past so that we can live at ease into the future and learn and grow from each other, from those people most relative to us that know the most about us. And we can forgive ourselves, and we can give what we have and give that forgiveness to others as well. I love that, Christine. I could hear and feel your voice of how much healing you have had in your journey, especially with the people that are most relative to you. And I love the fact that you took unease and made it an ease through gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability, which inspired your entire family. God bless you, especially. May I send my light love, and I am so pleased and happy for the weekend you're going to have with them as well. Thank you. All right, Jake, I think we got time for a couple more.
We definitely do. And thank you so much, Christina, for joining and asking and sharing your takeaway of the week. Dave, do you want to take a question on the Zoom training, and then we'll finish up with one question on Clubhouse?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good for me. There's so many on here. How do you focus or determine your topics during your research time? You know what's so great about that is I don't. They're usually guided by a lesson or a story that I learned the week or the previous day. I'm always reading A Course in Miracles, always reading Think and Grow Rich, always reading one other book. And it's audio for me, so I don't read anymore. Law school just took that excitement out of me. I love to, I do read The Course in Miracles. I do read Napoleon Hill each day, but I listen to each new book, you know, whether it's Goggins or Singer or Brian, you know, whoever. There's so many books I'm listening to as fast as I can in triple speed. So you can blame all those audio books for me speaking quickly. So the topics I allow to come through me. So it's the same as when I speak. And I think this is important takeaway as well. I look for things that resonate with me and I write them down. I don't write down everything, and I don't write down nothing. I write down the lessons that resonate with me. I can't imagine that every lesson that you learn today on this Clubhouse, as valuable as they all are, that they all resonate with you. But I do suggest that you write down the ones that resonate with you and then try to attach a story or a meaning, a notation to it so that you can remember, recollect, and remind what that and why that resonated with you. And that's what I do to determine my research every day. Reconciling time into that research every single day. I don't miss a day, or I'm not putting myself into that learning zone, understanding the coordination and collaboration of different authors and different ideas and different interviews, and how their clues, patterns, and choices are made because of what I'm aware of. And knowing what resonates with me is a confirmation of that awareness of clues, patterns, and choices that I'm making to determine a faster, more accurate trajectory to the promotion and protection that I receive every day from the Almighty, the omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent, that loves me more than my mom. You thought you're going to get away from this without me saying it one time. That's right. That loves me more than my mom, and that I love my own children. So those topics are utilized through the interactions of previous days or weeks in order to figure out what resonates with me. And then I pursue my potential to understand or get clarity, balance, and focus within the context of what resonated with me. All right, Jake, it's, I don't even know what time it is there, but we got 3 minutes left. What do you want to do with our last 3 minutes?
Let's bring up Rebecca here on Clubhouse to share her takeaway of the week. Rebecca, if you can please unmute yourself, and welcome to the Clubhouse. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, David. Nice to be here. I'll try to talk really fast since you're used to listening to the audibles on 3 times. No, I'm just kidding. So my takeaway of the week was do it messy. I gave my first keynote. It was I didn't have a PowerPoint. I didn't have everything memorized. I just spoke from the heart, and it went really well. And I just did it messy, and I gave myself the space and the grace just to make a mistake if I did. And I ended up just having an amazing, heartfelt experience, and it was received well. And so that's my takeaway of the week. Do it. Just do it messy. Just do it.
I love Do It Messy because it is coordinated and reconciles with one of my favorite takeaways, which is do it now. I see this with a lot of speakers, with a lot of authors. They want the perfect speech or the perfect book. And by the time they get to something that they're satisfied with, they could have given 100 speeches and read 100 books. And it's an incredible journey of learning, right? The pain, setbacks, failures, and mistakes that will occur as you're on stages and will occur when you're writing books is a progression and acceleration. It's the pursuit of your potential. And believe it or not, messy. And if you're doing it messy and doing it now, there's a same exact spectrum that exists for you as it does to see someone who has spoken on 1,000 stages and gets 6 figures for speaking. And here's the math that applies to doing it messy when you're talking. 10% of the people are going to resonate with you no matter what. They're going to be the Dan Clarks of the world. They're going to love everything that you say, and they're going to stand up afterwards and tell you how great they were. They may even tell you that you changed their life. And then there's going to be 10% of the people, no matter how great or how not messy or messy you are, they're going to tell you you suck. That was the worst speech I've ever heard, and they are not going to like you no matter what. But with practice and progression, with doing it messy again and again and again, and doing it more often again and again and again, and doing it now again and again and again, you will start to accumulate the sponsors and power sponsors in a community of the other 80%. The 80% that doesn't resonate with you and the 80% that does, sooner or later, through your own progression, the spectrum growing wider, the frequency strengthening harder, and the clarity of your message through practice and repetition of doing it messy and doing it now will only accelerate the adaptation of that 80% that will elevate you to the next level, allowing you to plateau and grow as a speaker. What a great way to end up. Everybody out there, enjoy your freedom, enjoy the options, opportunities, and touches of favor. Live with gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, an inspired weekend. We should all feel blessed. Please reach out to me if you want to join me on my free stuff. You want to come on one of my shows. If you want to join one of our groups, we got career groups, transition groups, and in my newest group, take advantage of the recession, learn the markets, the market makers, and the touches of favor. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I am of service. I appreciate everyone. Jakey, Bakey, close out the room. Thank you so much. Happy holiday.
Thank you, David, for joining. Can we flash our mics? That was an incredible hour of power. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. Happy holidays. Thank you. Join me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'd love to see you. Thank you. We love you. We will remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Be kind to yourself and do good deeds. We'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great holiday weekend. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Who? On there? Okay.
Dave, don't forget to kill Zoom here.
Oh, hi guys. Thank you. He's got Julie for the boss. Hey, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self. Do good deeds. We had over 66,000 people register for this. Thank you for your support. Let's build this community.
Well, I may not be a rockstar, but I feel like a